Okay, we are live. Happy Tuesday morning, everyone. As you're tuning in, we're coming to you live on Facebook, on two profiles, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So we're getting across the internet here today. So again, this is another live recording of the Managing Partners podcast. My name is Kevin Daisy. I'll be your host. I'm also the founder of Array Digital. We exist to help law firms fill their case pipeline, get in front of their ideal clients using websites, digital marketing, and search. So if you need that kind of help, please reach out to us. But today, we're all focused on our guest out of Baltimore, Maryland area, Marie-Yves. Thanks so much for coming on to tell your story today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me, Kevin.
Absolutely. So everyone, if you're tuning in, as you're tuning in, ask any questions that you may have. She's got a really cool story, which I already got to hear a little bit about backstage. So any questions, attorneys that are watching, I'm sure you can relate with her on a lot of different ways. So, but if you have questions, please ask. Also, just so we get it out there, check out her website and learn more about her while you're watching. You can go to the website address down below. I'll also put that in the comments in just a second.
It's a really cool website. We actually just redesigned it. So
excellent.
The plant that I had as a placeholder is now gone.
Well, we missed that one. So, well, Marie, let's get right into it.
Sure.
And again, you were kind of telling me backstage a little bit, but tell us your journey, and you have an interesting one about how you got on the path to become an attorney and how you kind of fell into the practice area that you're in.
Sure. Well, I'm not going to give you the cookie cutter version that, when I was a youngster, I always wanted to be an attorney, right? Because that's really not the case. So I graduated from high school, really great grades. And after high school, I kind of just took a very scenic route of, what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. I'm not going to bore you with all the crazy details and the crazy stories, but it got to a point where I ended up working at a local law firm in, I believe, Hauppauge, New York, which is Long Island, right? Suffolk County, Long Island, Feldman, Kramer, and Monaco. And I was just like, wait a minute, I get to deal with all these types of people and I get to help all of these individuals. And at that time, because of my scenic route, I ended up at community college, which I had a really good time. I did really, really well. And one day after, I think this is like my third year, I go to my mom and dad. I'm like, hey, I'm going to law school. And they both just looked at me and it was like crickets. It was crickets. It was like, another one. Okay. And when are you going to law school again? And, what's the plan and yada, yada, yada. And, I told them, I said, well, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. Graduated from community college and went to a local private college, St. Francis College in Brooklyn, New York. So I go to St. Francis, do real well, graduated at the top of my class, National Honor Society and everything. And, I went to my first year of law school was in Michigan, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. At first, I wanted to continue my studies with criminal law. And I read the cases and I said, wait a minute, this is too heavy. I don't think I can do this. And then I had the bright idea to do family law. So I transferred to the University of Baltimore in Maryland, where I graduated from. I actually graduated again this past, I don't even remember the month with my LLM in taxation. So I'm still graduating. So I'm still
learning,
still taking the scenic route. And I wanted to start doing family law. So in my second or third year of law school, I interned at the Baltimore County Department of Social Services, the law office there, and made some really great connections. My managing attorney, Meg Ferguson, who I believe is an attorney for the Baltimore County Police now, but I started there and I was there for a few months and I said, I don't know if family law is for me. It was really, really heavy. the things that happen in family law are just not for the faint of heart. I think you have to be a very emphatic, very special type of attorney, to practice this kind of law. I'm very patient too. I'm still working on that one. And so I just kind of just tried, different things until I found something that fit. And ultimately, I went to work for another law firm in the state of Maryland, very reputable, great law firm. And I did that for a little bit. That was estates and trust. So I had the family law component, the estates and trust component, and I kind of decided to just blend it together. So I brand and consider myself a family attorney. So I'm not a family law attorney and I'm not an estates and trust attorney. I am a family attorney. So I actually really focus on the three major areas that affect 100% of families. And that is family law, estates and trust law, and taxation law. So those are really my three areas. So that's kind of a brief synopsis of how I got here. Yeah.
No, it's great. I think it's kind of cool. And some people are like, yeah, I was born and then I was a lawyer.
Oh gosh, no. There, I did a lot of insane, why did I do that? There were a lot of moments like that. But ultimately, I think I've made my family proud. So yeah,
excellent.
I think it was all worth it.
Yeah, congratulations on where you are and running your own shop now and running your own show. So, and you're in the Baltimore area is where your firm is located. And
yes.
Where are you from originally?
So I was actually born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and I came here when I was 2 years old. And I came here with my mom. It was just me and my mom. She had me, at 30 years old, so she was already adult. And I think when she came here, she was earning like $2 or $3.15 an hour. And it's amazing, when you look back, we never had our lights cut off, never wanted for anything. And she just did everything that she needed to do to make sure that me and my sister, I have a younger sister, just, get to where we need to be. So we moved to Brooklyn. And my mom is still there. My dad is still there. Everyone is still there. I am by myself in the state of Maryland.
Okay. Excellent. Well, excellent story. You guys coming over here and
yes,
and her making it work and making it happen. So you could be doing this. So
yes.
So kudos to mom if you're watching.
Yes. Thanks, Mom.
And then I'm from Eastern Shore of Virginia, which is just a few minutes from Maryland. So Baltimore's pretty close where I'm from. But okay, excellent. So and for areas you serve, so what is kind of the reach that you kind of have as far as the cities around you? Is it just mainly Baltimore, outside of Baltimore? What do you focus on?
Yeah,
a clientele?
Right. So when I first opened my law firm, of course, like every new business owner, you serve all clientele, right? And I would drive from here, to the Eastern Shore to take cases. But ultimately, after a while, after a few years, we had to pare down because as you know, as a business owner, you start to look at, what you're putting out versus what you're bringing in. And so now for my family law cases, I only focus on 3 counties, which is Howard County, Harford County, and Baltimore County. Any other counties, I have a small subset of attorneys that I trust and I know, and I send those cases to them. Other than that, my estate planning cases, my estates and trust cases, I will take anywhere in the state of Maryland. And my tax cases, I also take anywhere in the state of Maryland. I am barred in the United States Tax Court, and that's in, DC. So there's just nothing I can do as far as travel goes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's just how business works.
Yes.
When I started, it was build websites for anybody and do marketing until, took a long time before we niched into working only with law firms.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a scary thing to do. But.
It is. And I heard that, when I first started and I thought, oh, no. But then the volume just got too much. And ultimately, I don't want to do a good job for many. I want to do a great job for a few.
Yeah, that's a good way. And the thing is, you can't help everybody and be efficient. And again, if you're out of the office all the time or traveling, then yeah, you can't be efficient with,
No.
and then you can't give those clients the time and, due diligence that they need.
Yep.
So makes a ton of sense. Again, anyone watching live, please say hi, ask any questions. So how do you go about getting clients? I'm sure it was probably different than maybe now, but now that you've kind of settled in to where you want to be, what are some of the things that you're doing that have been successful with marketing maybe, or I know referrals and relationships are always number one, but what is something you've done that has worked? And then we'll get to what hasn't.
Sure. Well, it's funny that you say that, because most people who know me from my personal relationships with them. 95, I think when we ran the math, it was like 89.16 of 16% of my cases that come from previous clients.
Okay.
When I first started, I had a really cool meeting with a local attorney who's also a family law but immigration attorney. Her name is Sherry Hoydra. Very amazing human. And she always told me, when you do great work, the clients will come. So I have pretty much built my firm on that, in that I focus on my clients. I have a motto in my firm, and we have not wavered from it. It's people first, profit second. Period. Whether it's the colleagues that I work alongside or whether it's my clients, people first. And so we have kind of just made it our thing to go above and beyond for our clients to ensure that they, in fact, are satisfied, because they're spending their hard-earned money on us. Mm-hmm. Whether it's borrowed or whether it's saved, it doesn't matter. It's their hard-earned money. So that's realistically what we focused on, is client satisfaction. And that has just been a huge return. In essence, I probably spend $300 a year in advertising. We advertise in Gay Parent Magazine. I am a member and a huge proponent of the LGBTQIA community. Okay. And so I, just to support them, I advertise there. And I do what's called like placement advertising. I've probably done it once or twice. So when you sit at a diner, your plate might be on my face. So, something like that. But ultimately, the third thing that I do is kind of a secret. It was shared with a fellow Georgia attorney. Her name is Regina Irene. She does strictly family law. And I keep that one a secret because it works really, really well and requires a minimal. But other than that, I need to do a better job of going out. I need to do a better job of being seen.
And here you are.
Well, this right here is my scary thing that I said that I would never do. But for 2021, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do something that scares the bejesus out of me. And this is right. This is it right here. So, yeah.
Well, to that note, because we were talking before, is you got something that you mentioned to me. I don't know if you want to say it on here or not, but
sure.
Something that you were talking about starting and kind of this year, it sounded like you want to like go all in and do things that you're not comfortable with. And so you had an idea though, which I thought was really cool.
I did. So my former business coach, Allison Williams, we were at odds because I never wanted to be seen, right? I am the type of person, I have lived my entire life in the background, and I don't ever want anyone to know I exist. And I am the one that silently makes jokes that are really funny, but wants no one to laugh. And I don't want no one to know I made the joke, because that's just have been my entire life. And it's hilarious because my sister is the complete opposite. And so when we did our coaching in our mastermind groups, she has a systems retreat.
Cool.
And it will have you, crying at the end because you're just like, oh my gosh, I thought I was doing okay. And then you realize there's so much more that can be done. And so at the systems retreat, we were talking about, at the marketing retreat, she asked about, what are your roadblocks? And so I said, my roadblock is I don't want to be seen. I just want to work in the background like a little, like a little mouse, like a little elf, and be okay. And I will never forget it. She said, well, Nadine, she calls me by my middle name. She said, that's a marketing issue and that's a self-esteem issue. I was like, oh, mind blown, right? And so after that, I kind of just started unearthing different things that I would do to kind of get myself out there. This being one of them, and starting my own podcast is another. And I know you talked about, your class that you have with podcasting. So I'm definitely going to take you up on that. Because I want to be able to showcase other attorneys, and especially other brown women attorneys, because unfortunately, I believe we're about the brown community is about 8 to 9%. And I say brown to include all shades, right? Sure. And all backgrounds. But we're about 8 to 9% of the legal community, which I think is pretty disastrous in my opinion. So as a result, I wanted to start a podcast that highlights female entrepreneurs who happen to be attorneys, who happen to be brown, and who just have a very non-traditional, just happy life, and just show who they are outside of, being in a suit, right? The 3-piece cage, right? So I love it. One of the things. Yeah, that's one of the things I want to do.
No, so I love that. So you heard it here first. I think it's a great idea, and I think I think it'll be interesting and fun, and yes. It should bring a lot of attention and viewers. The behind the scenes of, just like me, like I run a business, I have a family, I have tons of other problems and issues I got to deal with outside of just, working with clients.
Yeah.
And employees. So I think that'd be really cool to showcase that, and absolutely whatever I can do to help you. Sure. And for anyone listening too, I say I give a master class on podcasting, and I just did this we have like a regional chamber. I just did a live webinar, which I think is recorded, and I have all the material for it, but I don't charge to do it. That's just something I put together. I was asked to do it. And so anyone listening that wants to do a podcast, please reach out. Let me know. I think more law firms should be doing podcasts. Even to get clients. There's a few that I've spoken with that have been very successful, like a divorce podcast, and they actually get local clients off their podcast where they've been listening and getting tips and stuff like that. And it produces clients for them. And I just spoke with the attorney, I believe it was yesterday, that is looking to start their podcast. So I offered them same kind of assistance if they need help. I think I have 3 podcasts, really. One's a daily podcast. And then, of course, this podcast here. So, we got good experience, but at the same time, this is pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's not overproduced. You don't try to make everything perfect. We're live right now, right? And we can mess up, or someone can walk in my office, or it's not a big deal. So I think, everyone's always worried about the quality and the production and having everything perfect. And I think that's why most just don't start it. So my tip for you would be just put yourself out there to start doing it.
Yeah.
And then you'll start to tweak and figure things out that you like, don't like, get feedback from your friends, colleagues. Yep. And then you'll kind of like when you started with the law career, you'll end up getting where you want to go and figuring out what the right mix, how often you do it, all that stuff. For this one, there's no schedule at all. It's whenever she was available and I was available. Boom, here we are. So
and I like the efficacy of that. Like, it's efficient and ultimately it works. And like you said, just doing it. And that's something that in the past that I've struggled with, and I think a lot of people have struggled with. It's not working right now, so that means it's not going to work at all. And ultimately that's not true. And as adults, we become more reserved and more fearful versus, when we were toddlers, where we would just do anything. There was no thinking about it. It was just do it. So I'm trying to, I don't want to Benjamin Button all the way back, right? But, ultimately, I just want to bring myself to those years where I'm like, just dive right in, just do it. Get it done.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. And, unfortunately, I think as parents, I do this too is, hey, don't do that. Oh, you're going to get hurt. We eventually, like, as a kid, you're told to just stay away from everything and just back up, and you're going to get hurt. And instead of just letting them
don't do this, don't do that, don't touch that, don't go here, don't go there. And I mean, I have a 14-year-old boy, right? So I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want him to make stupid decisions. But ultimately, I know that those stupid decisions will lead him to be a better young man. Because my goal is, I don't want him living in my basement at 30. I just do not. I don't. So he's a very respectful young man, and he does what he needs to do. So I think I'm doing something okay. I got 4 more years to make sure that he's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah, I think I love my kids, but even when they're like 1 or 2, I'm like talking to my wife, like, we got to make sure that they're out of here.
Yes. Yeah. We love them, but we want to make sure that they can handle their own and be independent and not so fearful. And the same thing goes for us, as business owners. We can't be fearful of failure. And I think that that's one of the biggest challenges that I've had in my marketing. Is that I'm fearful of, well, what's going to happen if I, put $15,000 in Google AdWords and it doesn't work? Or what's going to happen if I do this podcast and I can't speak proper English somehow? There's always this like weird ideas that we may have about things that have not even come to fruition yet. It's very limiting, very limiting.
Well, I think what I've learned as an entrepreneur for quite a while is you try something. You don't go too ridiculously crazy. You measure, and you tweak, you measure, and then at some point you'll get to a point where you're like, okay, this is not working. We need to stop this, or sometimes you just say, hey, we haven't given enough time yet, so we need to continue to measure and improve, and we're going to give it this certain amount of time, and then we need to see some results, and that's how you should treat pretty much everything. I think, especially if you're like a marketing agency, our clients should treat us that way. Hey, we're going to try this out, but there's at some point we got to show some results, and it's got to happen. So this just is what it is.
I agree.
So I love everything you had to share. I think the podcast is an awesome idea. I think what you're doing is great.
Well, thank you.
And I could probably talk to you all day.
I know
about all this stuff, but I do have to wrap up here in a second.
I know. I'm a talker. Don't let me go.
Oh no, I might have to have a couple more episodes with.
I'll take it.
You. No, I love everything you're doing. I think you're making a big change. I think for like who you are naturally.
Maybe
more introvert to more extrovert, but
yes.
And it sounds like you're ready to go. So
I am.
I think you'll see some huge results from whatever you do. Everyone check out her website, reach out to her. What's another way people can connect with you if they wanted to follow you? Obviously, attorneys watching her new podcast, you're probably going to want to tune into that as well.
Yes,
so
we will definitely be doing a blast on social media. We are on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, of course. And you'll see some coming posts, but definitely if you want to reach out to us, any of those platforms, or ultimately, if you just want to go to our website as indicated below, saintevelaw.com, or you can reach out to the firm 443-707-8692. We're here. Our hours are 8 to 4:30 Monday through Thursday, and on Friday we leave at 1. So we try to have a little bit of a life outside of practicing law.
We're not supposed to have a life. You're an attorney.
No, that's true. That's true.
Well, that's what the show's going to be all about. So.
Well, thank you for having me on, Kevin. I truly appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And hang on a second when we get done. To check out her episode, it'll be up on our website soon. We're going to have a page just for her. So that'll be as soon as my team gets some editing done and builds out the page. You can check that out. And other podcasts, we've had over 100 managing partners this year on the podcast. So there's plenty of content and episodes for you to check out. You can go to raylaw.com/podcast. And when it comes to marketing, your website, SEO, getting found in search, advertising, that's what we do. So if you need help with that, you can go to raylaw.com, find out more about us, or just reach out to me personally. You can connect with me through LinkedIn, mostly is where I'm at, Kevin Daisy. And that's it. So without further ado, guess we'll go. So have a great day. Have a great morning, I guess, for the East Coast people here. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.